I've realized that there's definitely a shift that's happening in the world, a shift that's happening in consciousness and things like that. And what do I mean by that? I say that because I don't know, man. You could just kind of look around, and if you talk to people and you conversate with people the way I do, you just really get this sense. You just really get this sense, this feeling that people are literally just fed up and they're starting to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. Something is missing. You can just feel that something is missing. Personally, these days I don't really try to run around acting like a know-it-all or whatnot. I just kind of speak these videos and I just kind of speak life from the perspective of and the understanding that I have in it. I do know that I've spent a high amount of time pondering, a lot of these subjects more than the average person for sure. But I do just speak from the perspective of the way that I understand it, and I'm just giving insight, honestly, just flowing from intuition, to be honest with you. But you could just I feel like what that thing is people are not in touch with themselves. And I feel like that's something that is obviously easier said than done. But I do feel like that is something that has levels and dimensions of, well, I'm going to bring it this way, levels and dimensions of understanding, because it gets deeper and deeper and deeper as we understand it more and more. That's like something very common people probably heard before, like, get in touch with yourself, get in touch with your spirit, get in touch with who you are. We've definitely heard that before, but I feel like the pandemic is that people don't really truly understand the depth and the level of significance that has on our lives, and even in our inner spirit, not even in our lives, in our inner spirit, what I'm saying? That thing that just gives you vitality, that thing that just gives you life. And I feel like people are getting a little fed up, and I could tell you a lot of it just kind of comes from how did we lose touch with that? Social conditioning. You know what I'm saying? Like I know you definitely heard that before, but do you really understand how deep that really is and that really goes? Social conditioning from the moment that we're small. Think about it. If you went to public school, which is the majority of any of us, but if you think about the way that you grew up and the type of information that you was exposed to, you come across very little information through your systems, through our different education and grooming systems. You come across very little information that speaks to the tone of getting in touch with yourself, getting in touch with your intuition, getting in touch with your inner spirit. And I respect what anybody want to believe or whatnot, but I speak this language and I speak of these things because these are the things that I've seen firsthand in my life, the significant difference and breakthroughs that it can have in your life on so many levels, on endless amount of levels. I've seen it firsthand. So I could definitely speak it with, some level of confidence as I understand it. So, like I was saying, man, when you think about it, when you go through your social conditioning and systems, there's very extremely little information that says anything about just getting in touch with who you are, what you are. When we grow up, at least that's the way it is here in, the United States. I can't speak for other countries, but I can only speak for the United States. You always come across a bunch of information that's trying to feed you, that's trying to condition, how they want you to think. And when I say they, I mean the whatever entity is presenting the information. You usually come across information that's geared towards what, you know what I'm saying, that entity wants you to think, what type of projection, what type of impression it wants to put on you. And it's rarely you come across anything that tells you, man, forget what I'm talking about. Get in touch with who you are. Get in touch with what you are. Get in touch with that thing that sings to you. And I feel like, man, when you think about it, we are generations deep at this point with, you know, this type of conditioning going on. And it's so systematic at this point. It's literally a part of our culture. But what I feel like what's happening is that natural spirit that resides within each and every last one of us is breaking out the cage, is trying to break out the cage. And that's why there's just this certain level of tenseness in the air. Like when you think about it, people are so much more tight today than they were, let's just say even three years ago. 3 years ago, that's not even a long time. People, if you ask me, people are more tight today than we were in 2020. And you know what happened in 2020 globally. I'm not going to say it because words trigger algorithms and things like that. And I don't want to do that. But I personally, because, you know, I could feel energy and things like that. I feel like people are more tight today than we were back in 2020 when we was dealing with such a significant inconvenience and situation. And, you know, again, based on how I understand life, I feel like it's just coming from that deep inner core that we just know that something is missing. And people are getting tired of the games. We're getting tired of the repetition. You know what I'm saying? Like when you think about it, man, this country do a lot of things that's just very repetitious, you know, and it's not serving us. It's not feeding us. That's the problem right there. It's not feeding us. We're not getting fed. It's equivalent, honestly, it's equivalent to eating fast food. You know what I'm saying? It's like you eat something and all you're really doing is just putting something inside your body. You don't get any real nutrition from fast food. If you notice it, when you eat fast food, you feel a little empty on the inside. I'm not quite saying you feel hungry still, but you just feel a little empty, like you're not getting from it. You don't get any boost of energy. You don't get nothing. You know what I'm saying? You do feel a little empty, and I feel like that's just what's going on. I feel like we are spiritually malnutrition. And we're just missing out on that. So I seriously don't want to make this too long, but I just wanted to speak on it, man. You can just, people are just so much more tight, man. And of course, I know the economy is a huge role, playing a huge role in that too. So that's a little bit of perspective too. If you just look at the span of, I don't know, 3-4 years compared to where we're at now economically, you know what I'm saying? It hasn't gotten better. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's just some type of insight, maybe give you some type of perspective to say, hey man, it's time to put them boots on and get to work. It's time to put them boots on and get to work because it's not getting better. You know what I'm saying? For what I can see, I hate to be Mr. Doom and Gloom. Okay, I'm not trying to be Mr. Doom and Gloom, but I am a realist and I do call it the way I see it. You know, I call a spade a spade. And it hasn't been getting better. So I don't know. That should probably motivate y'all to have some type of sense of urgency to start getting it together, stop playing around. Maybe that's what's kind of going on with people. We're a little less loose and we're a little bit more tight because we're focusing in, and you know we're trying to figure this thing out. It's kind of like when you pull up to the drive-thru and you turn down the radio. It kind of helps you think. it really helps you think. Even if the radio was off, you ever realize that subconsciously we still do that? I believe it's really because it does help us think. So maybe that's why we're a little tight. We're just trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? For real. And man, I could tell you from my personal experience and my personal understanding of the world, it is getting more in touch with who you are at its core, at its deeper levels, because the more you do that, the more you get fed from the energy. You know what I'm saying? The more you can feed yourself because you know who you are. The more that we do things that are aligned and in line with who we are, the more it feeds us mentally, emotionally, spiritually, metaphysically. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I'm not really going here nor there with this video, but I definitely just wanted to just say something and speak on just this denseness that's in the air, man. That's in the air. You know what I'm saying? For anybody that's wondering, this is the cat shirt. It says hug life, okay? I don't have a thug cat on my shirt. It says hug life, baby, because that's just what we about. Anyway, I'm getting off track, man. SLRD is what we do on this channel, man. It's just a vibe, high vibrational, real spirituality, because there's definitely some pretenders out there. Use a little bit of discernment and you can see what's up and you can see what time it is. But we you know what I'm saying? We trying to do this thing for real, man. Bless.